Alright, morning guys. So, headed down to Hastings today. And basically, it's absolutely horrendous. Had a dance photo shoot this morning with Kimbling, but we cancelled that. Rescheduled it for Wednesday. Hopefully the weather will be better. It's just too windy. I don't care about the rain because that would have been quite good with the rain falling and everything. But the wind is literally about 50 miles an hour. Gusts, which is no good. And just not very nice. It's literally 5 degrees Celsius as well. So not much point even trying that. And it's not fair on the girls either. Out in this weather. If it's warm and it's a bit rainy, it's not the end of the world, and it also adds to the thing. But freezing cold weather and damp is not ideal. It doesn't bother me at all, but it's a bit unfair for the young ladies out there. So just coming down to Hastings Pier on the back road. Looks empty as usual, but where we're heading is the old town. Where they got the sea wall, so we should be you can see it there in the distance. Hoping it was going to be crashing over the top, but it's a little bit. High tide is about 40 minutes away, something like that. So I'm going to have a quick look, see what it's up to. The weather is horrendous. So I've got the Sony rx10 Mark IV with me. I left the A7R3 at home, and I thought if it is sort of big waves and crashing over the top, it would be quite cool for some slow motion. Also the fact that a dull day like today, with 600mm lens, having f4 is actually quite a benefit. Where I had the 150 to 600mm Sigma f6.3, so it's f3.5 or 4 to f6.3 through the range. On a day like today, you would be pushing the ISO up a bit or slowing the shutter speeds down. Obviously, 600mm is not ideal, but with the RX10 Mark IV with the 600mm, you can f4, which actually allows you some sort of still quite quick shutter speeds, which is good. There we go. So if you're into your art, there's the Jerwood Gallery. These are the old fishing sort of net drying huts, so they'd dry the fishing nets years ago. Obviously now they're all plastic and nylon on, I'd imagine, so they don't need drying. Fisherman's Museum, never actually been in there. It is open. There's an old boat in there by the looks of it. And an aquarium, which, to be honest, I could go in there actually. See all the. Let's have a quick look at the wave situation. Let's see if they've shut this gate actually, but no, it's open. That's right. The smallest speed ramps in the world. The sea is actually surprisingly calm, which is a bit annoying. As you can imagine, it's pretty quiet in there today. There's old caves up there. You can't get up there anymore, unfortunately. Used to as a kid. Oh, that's really annoying. Pretty much a high tide, and it's only just sploshing up and down. Normally you get big waves crashing up over that sea wall. It's pretty high. I wonder if don't know if the fishing boats be going out. That's annoying. Let's go and see if the aquarium's open. There's nothing going on here, is there? So I arrived at the Blue Reef Aquarium in Hastings after a disappointing look at the beach, expecting large waves when it was actually an offshore wind, so it cancelled out the waves pretty much completely. Anyway, so Sony rx10 Mark IV with me because I was going to do some slow motion. The aquarium is actually pretty dark in there. It's quite low light, no windows anywhere, and it's just the light in the tanks, which to our naked eye absolutely fine. To any cameras out there, you're going to have to crank the ISO up a little bit and adjust your shutter speeds accordingly. So shot on 4K, 25 frames a second, and ISO 1000 most of it. So the video looks pretty good. I was quite impressed with that actually, and the way the focusing still worked through really heavily scratched perspex or acrylic and glass tank sort of viewing areas. The AF worked pretty well all the way through, apart from one area when I got to these small little blue fish where it wouldn't focus. It just struggled for some reason. Eventually I got a couple, but I just don't know. It was weird. Everything else it seemed fine. Maybe it's just the light that was there, or it just struggled with a reflection or something. I don't know. As you can see here, even on this this clip here, it's still quite dark, and you can see the difference between light and dark in the tanks. Some of the tanks are nice and bright, and because the fish was quite close to the sort of tank window as such, I could actually shoot at f2.4 and obviously get the shutter speeds up and drop the ISO back down to around about 400 ISO, but most of them are ISO 1000 or more. This is the fish here. For some reason it just didn't want to focus on him. It would focus on everything else, just didn't like him. Don't know why. Maybe he was a little bit close and I was zoomed in slightly, I can't remember, but yeah, it's a bit random. But got a photo later on, absolutely no problem at all. It may have just been when in video mode it just didn't like it for some reason, don't know. Yes, you can see a little bit of noise. All of these photos are straight out of the camera, shot in RAW, and as the video, I've not touched the video at all. It's just straight off the camera, straight into Sony Vegas with no sharpening, nothing. So the shots, some of the lighting was really quite nice, like this. It could be under the sea, you know. So the place itself was actually really quite cool. For £10.25 to get in, I didn't think it was bad at all. So seahorses, I've never seen a live one before, but this little chap here, or lady, was obviously a little bit hungry and managed to actually capture it eating, which is quite cool. It found a snack of some sort, but just watching its eyes and everything just moving around is pretty awesome. They're so sort of calm looking, and there we go. So he started moving towards me. So I had to back out very slightly to keep him in focus, but still then shooting through this horrible scratched acrylic. So nice photo there, no problem at all. Like I say, all shot at ISO 1000. So if you've got the light there, the noise doesn't really jump out at you, which is good. Crazy thing is, you're trying to follow these fish, and the focusing points, I mean, it was ridiculous. It was actually tracking moving fish through, you know, pretty scruffy glass with ease most of the time, which was really, really cool. So again, some of these are shot at sort of 300 to 600 mm f4. Some are shot wide angle, f2.4, depending on if they were close enough to the glass. I could actually put the camera right up against the glass, took the sunshade off, the lens hood off, and actually turned it around the other way, so I could get right up to the glass to get rid of any possible reflections coming in from behind me. But this shot here, f2.4, you know, nice and sharp on his eyes, and then blur, but you can see all the scratches in the glass there. It's a real shame, really, because you know it's probably very expensive to do, and I don't know how long it is until they replace the tanks and things like that. But it's just a shame that the glass or the acrylic is so scratched. But what do you do? Eh? Next shot is this thing. He was hungry, so there was a bit of wildlife there as well, amphibians and reptiles and things. He managed to have a locust or whatever sat on his nose, and he woke up and decided to eat it. So just about caught that, having a bit of breakfast or lunch, which was quite funny. And then he had a big yawn and went back to sleep again. So yeah, like I say, through scratched glass again, which is a real shame. But there you go. So nice and sharp still. Really impressed with the actual image quality and the sharpness from the RX10 Mark IV. Still a game changer, I think, in the world of bridge cameras. This one here, it was really close to the glass, so I could shoot f2.4 wide open at 24mm. And look how sharp that is on the eyes. I was really impressed, but you can see it's actually a little bit shallow because his nose and his side of his head was actually out of focus. This is an eel. I couldn't remember what name of eel this is, but it kind of looks like a leopard. But he was proper angry. He didn't like my camera at all. It looked like he was about to try and attack me. Yeah, so I mean, but that was he was quite active. He really didn't like the camera. I don't know if it's because he could see his own reflection in the end of the lens or what. As you can see there, I'm a little bit too close, zoomed in, so its minimum focal range I'd exceeded. Not actually a focal problem, it's just me pushing the camera a little bit too close. So I'll step back. But he looks like a bit of a moody one, he or she. But as you can see, quite a cool shot there. Nice and sharp still. But like I say, we're shooting through horrible, probably inch thick or more sort of perspex stroke glass layers, and some of the distortion sometimes I had to not bother with some of the photos because you just couldn't get a clear image, especially if you're shooting sort of slightly curved glass or a domed glass or anything at a slight angle. It became very difficult, a bit like the tunnel here. But it was quite cool. Interesting to see the little sharks flying around and swimming rather, and people that looked really small compared to what they really look like in real life. But not a bad little place really. Here was very difficult. This was actually a really curved piece of glass, so you can see there a very soft, distorted image. But that was actually shot at ISO 5000. So the RX10 Mark IV at ISO 5000. Didn't think it was too bad. But I have actually, to be honest, I have actually reduced the noise with a bit of noise reduction there. These shots are just straight out. As you can see, a reflection of someone on their phone in the glass there. That's the only problem. This is quite cool. A little shark tossing, like, sort of popping over the top of me, and I was in the dome tunnel. As you can see, there are plenty of scratches all over. He was quite inquisitive, bit of an ugly boy, but quite cool eye and a stumpy nose. And but the glass, like I say, it was either curved or dead straight, and so you either end up with a really good shot or distorted. This is the octopus, and still quite young apparently. The lady dangled some, made a load of splashing and things, and he came out of his hole, and which is quite cool. So getting an octopus actually swimming around was pretty awesome to see, and how clever he was. So they'd actually put some food in there, some crab meat, and they'd broken a couple of little loops there in the actual balls. So he had to work out, because they're very intelligent. They said their intelligence is about the same as a 3-year-old toddler, so they can actually work out how to undo jam jars and things like that, and get into this ball there. It was really quite cool. Unfortunately, reflections from people standing behind me, I couldn't get much of a better shot, but it was kind of cool. This guy was obviously relatively hungry, and that's a bit of lunch, but I'm guessing that stops them eating the other fish. I'm not sure, but feeding time. So it was quite crazy actually watching that for a few seconds, because they'd cleared all of that food within 30-40 seconds, something like that. It was quite cool to see. This guy here was quite inquisitive actually. He just sort of sat around for a bit and he just sort of floated around. Shot again, I think around about 300mm f4, ISO 1000. Another shot here, I think it's either between 100 and 300 thereabouts. This is all ISO 1000, remember. So I was pretty impressed with actually the way the lighting even helped the noise sort of disappear a little bit, even though it's there in a few shots. This toad here, big thing, massive, shot through glass. He was about a metre back into the tank, so I was shooting through dirty sort of scratched glass. Same with this turtle, whatever it was, sticking his head up. It's a shame that you can't get closer or easier access, but you can't have everything. Like you say, lots of scratches all over the perspex there. But these are on my side, so it's people's diamond rings and other jewellery and mobile phones, car keys, and anything what people got in their hands are just scratching the hell out of everything. It's a real shame. There you go. So this shot here was shot at ISO 8000 from the RX10. Yes, I've added some noise reduction to the best ability possible, but then reflective glass, but still captured it. This again back to ISO 1000. These sort of quite majestic looking fish here, but quite cool. And this one here is probably the best shot of the day, super sharp, and right in his eye, which is really cool. So that was shot at ISO 400, I believe, which was pretty cool. But yeah, really quite a sharp image, that one. And here's the pier. So after I left, I just drove down the road where our pier is, or the Hastings pier rather, and as you can see, that was a 50-mile-an-hour wind gusting, but sort of offshore, so all the waves that were coming in would have been cancelled out. It was flat as anything. Normally you're looking at big waves crashing up halfway up the side of the pier, up over the beach onto the road, and up over the sea wall that you saw right at the beginning of the video as I arrived into the car park. So anyway, guys, hope they sort of opened some more eyes again, and it was worth watching. Please subscribe, please push the little notification bell, please share with everyone, and I'll see everyone soon. Cheers.